Yep, that's me, doom scrolling away at mukbang videos late at night, and I know you do too.
Hi, my name is Ashley, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about the dangers of watching food content on the internet, such as watching mukbangs, what I eat in a day videos, and different food reviews of cafes and restaurants. This topic is a bit vulnerable and it holds dear to my heart because I experienced the negative impact of watching food content online. Enjoy the video.
I use watching mukbang videos, what I eat in a day videos, Google reviews of restaurants and cafes in my area as a form of escapism. During this time period, I gained a little bit of weight, and I thought that watching mukbang videos or consuming food media was harmless to my body because I'm not actively consuming the food, right? But I went through a rabbit hole of researching and found that watching mukbang videos is actually very harmful to the mind and the physical body. Our brains have evolved in a state of food scarcity. So our brains evolved 100,000 years ago, and obviously there was a lack of food. And now our brains have been placed in the mid 20th century where food is abundant. Food really has become abundant in like the past 50 years because of the Industrial Revolution. Now our monkey brains have been placed in the abundance of food rather than the scarcity of it. In this timeline, you could see the development of the manufacturing of food, and that in the 1900s, the manufacturing and food industry increased substantially. Since our brains adopted in a state of scarcity, there is an evolutionary concept called visual hunger. Whenever we see food, either in person or a photo of it, our brains are not passive, it's not neutral. Our brains are actually going haywire. So when we see food, there is a reward processing that goes in our brains, and then our body actually gets ready to consume that food. It was found in multiple studies that watching food content increases insulin levels, changes in heart palpitations, and elicits a salivary response. Crazy, right? It's one study that found that watching food media increases the brain metabolism by 24%. So there's an actual physiological reaction to consuming food media. It's not passive at all. Now we are in a place where there's a plethora of food, immense increase of food content and food media on the internet, and just adding those two variables does not lead to anywhere good. There's a trend in mukbang videos or what I eat in a day videos of really thin, naturally thin people consuming immense amounts of food that's actually sickening. Pretty much my trio rotation. I watch a lot of Stephanie Buttermore, Young, and Zermatt Neo. And it's usually very high energy, unhealthy food.
And this warped my perception because I thought I could consume processed food and still be naturally thin. And that's definitely not the case because it's just calories in and out. And I was consuming all these foods and going out to eat thinking that I could stay lean and thin because a lot of these people filming mukbangs and consuming all this unhealthy food was naturally thin also.
A lot of these content creators are also in the fitness industry. They work multiple hours a day and consume in a caloric deficit majority of the time. Actually, a lot of these foods that people are consuming on what I eat in a day videos or mukbang videos is highly processed food. And it's food made in a lab that's made to be addictive. And it's a perfect combination of salt, fat, sugar, and that creates a bliss point in our heads that's very highly addictive.
So this is the origin of the bliss point with which I am identified. The easiest way to demonstrate a bliss point is add sugar to coffee. As you add more and more sugar, you like it more and more up to a certain point, and then you like it less and less.
And I went through a phase where I thought that I could consume these foods without any negative consequences. And so I did. And when I did it, I gained a little bit of weight and I got a little puffy and inflamed. Also create this unrealistic expectation that if I go to this restaurant or if I go and consume this food, it's going to be this very pleasurable and very gratifying experience. And when I did go to this restaurant or consume this food, it wasn't a satisfying or gratifying experience at all. And because this expectation wasn't met, I went through a cycle of binging after I went to this restaurant or cafe because it didn't naturally satisfy me. And this is actually very similar to the concept of watching porn. Once you watch a form of content that is highly specific, an unrealistic expectation that food needs to satisfy you in a very specific way. And once you actually consume food or do the action and it doesn't satisfy that part of your brain, you actually go through a state of being unsatisfied and unhappy that this pleasure point hasn't been hit in your brain. And you go back into a cycle of consuming that content again. In our society, we have normalized watching mukbang videos, watching reviews of restaurants and cafes, and just consuming food media itself, which I do not think is a bad thing at all. But the immense amount of media out there, I think it's really hard for a person to just passively experience it. I know just not myself go through a cycle of being addicted to this form of content. What do we do as a society and as a person itself, and moving through life and just being exposed to all these different types of videos. One thing that really worked for me is actually realizing that wherever you invest your energy in and put your energy and time into, it's only going to extrapolate it. And when I was consuming a lot of food media, I was getting hyper focused and hyper obsessed with food and consuming food. That's why I think mukbang videos are not passive. It's not a neutral experience. There's an actual physiological and neural response when you watch these videos. And I think the only way to really break that cycle is to just cold turkey stop consuming these videos itself and not watch any mukbang videos and stop researching and foraging for food media itself. You need to change the algorithm. You need to stop consuming these medias. The pendulum swung so far that when I was consuming these videos, it was such a negative experience in my brain that I needed to actually swing it back the other way and just not consume anything. So not consume any mukbang videos or any food review videos. And yeah, I think there are ways to definitely overcome this, but I think the first thing is to be self-aware, just aware that consuming media itself, it does something to the brain, and I think you need to really decide on what you want to grow in your life. This is the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I don't think I've ever consumed a YouTube video that talked about mukbang videos and the detriments of it. So if you guys like more informational content, just like, subscribe. There's a lot of thoughts going up in here and a lot of videos I want to make. So yes, like, subscribe, and see you guys next time.